to our information session. I am Daphne Arnold. I am an admissions coordinator here in the Kent School of Social Work and Family Science. And I'm joined by the Associate Director and Program Manager of MSSW Admissions, Miss Valerie Miller. And she's going to be taking care of the chat. So if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat, and she'll be taking care of that. And I will go through the presentation and then allow for some time for questions if anybody has any questions. So let me go ahead and load the presentation. Let's see here. All right. Does that look okay? Everyone can see it? Thumbs up.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Looks
Thank
good.
you. Thanks. Well, thank you for taking some time this evening to learn a little bit about the MSSW program here at the Kent School of Social Work and Family Science at the University of Louisville. As I said, I am Daphne Arnold. I'm an admissions coordinator here. So that means I work on the admissions that we, applications that we receive, and also do some recruiting. And then I have a counterpart, my colleague, Ellie Cortez. She does the same role as I do. And we actually split up the alphabet for applicants. So if your last name is starts with the letters A through L in the alphabet, then I would be corresponding with you, letting you know that we've received your materials, checking over them, answering any questions you may have. And Ellie does the same thing for the rest of the applicants. And our supervisor is here on the presentation today and taking care of the chat. She's the associate director, and she's also important for you to know because she helps with our scholarships that we have here at the Kent School. So we are the admissions team, and there's no question that is too silly or one that we haven't heard before. We love answering questions. We want you to be informed, and we are excited about our program and sharing it with you all. So for the information session tonight, I'm going to talk a little bit about what social work is, give you an overview of our MSSW program, talk about the practicum experience in social work. I'm going to touch just briefly on campus resources, and then I'll go into how to apply, give you the information about deadlines, some information about tuition and financial aid, and then, like I said, leave room for questions. And Valerie is going to be putting some things in the chat. So there are going to be some links that you can click on or some information you can read as well. And feel free to type any questions in there, and she'll take care of that for you. So what is social work? A lot of times when people first hear social work, or if they haven't experienced social work, they may think of child protection, but social work is a profession that is broad, and it is work that is working towards the improvement of social conditions and the alleviation of social problems that have been caused over time. A lot of times that means it's advocating on behalf of marginalized populations, and creating social service organizations that are responsive to human needs. And those needs are anything from the basic needs of housing, food, safety, those types of things, and also psychological needs as well. There are 3 levels of social work practice in the profession of social work. So micro-social work involves the smallest units. So those are units like families, or relationships, like in a couple relationship, or could even be friendships, or even just an individual. So if you're working in the micro level of social work, you're working with those smallest units. Mesosocial work describes medium-sized systems like communities. So this could be neighborhoods, if you're in the healthcare setting, a healthcare organization, a school, something like that. And then macro social work involves the larger systems and the policy involved in social work. So that is looking at the systemic policies that affect people. Um, Social work is not linear in that when you are entering the profession, there's not a direct job that um, you are going to be pursuing. It's a broad field, and so there are a lot of different sectors that you can go into. Um, and some of those you may be aware of now and have heard of, and some you may have not. So hopefully over your time studying social work in our program, you'll learn more about what social work looks like in these different settings. But we always like to put this slide up there so you can see a lot of different careers that can be pursued with a degree in social work. So some of them on there, you can see a case manager, a lobbyist, political analyst, a city council person, someone working in the wellness industry, so maybe in the private sector, doing wellness coaching, something like that, or organizing wellness programs that address mental, physical needs of employees somewhere. You could go into training. There's really just no limit to where you can find social workers. The Bureau of Labor Statistics is where we get some of the data about job growth and earning potential. So it's a federal data collection that keeps track of salaries and job forecasting. And so as of May 2024, the average salary for someone with a master's of social work was $61,050. And you can see here, they have it even broken down into different types of social workers. So you can see the median annual earning for social workers in healthcare was 68,000. So that's at the high end. And then you've got educational services, so state, local, and private at 67,000. And then you'll see the local government, state government, and then also mental health and substance use disorder social workers listed there as well. The job outlook is projected to be growth. And 7% may sound like a low number, but in the growth area, this exceeds the national average of job outlook growth. You'll often see 1 to 2%. Sometimes you may even see a decline in job outlook. So I encourage you to log on to the BLS.gov, Bureau of Labor Statistics, to see this information. It's just really interesting and helpful. Of course, the median means that it's an average, so it's going to be dependent on where you're located, how much experience you have, and things like that. Something to consider when pursuing a master's of social work is licensure. So our program here at the Kent School meets the educational requirements for licensure, both the master's level licensure and then also the clinical social work licensure for all 50 states. So we typically ask where people are joining us from, but Val and I were gabbing at the beginning, but if you're joining us from somewhere outside of Kentucky, or you have plans to move outside of Kentucky, rest assured that our program will meet those educational requirements for licensure. The way that licensure works is that after you finish the program, you would be eligible to sit for the master's level licensure. So that would be an exam that you would take at the completion of your master's program. Then, if you want to pursue the clinical social work licensure exam, that typically happens about 2 years after you've finished your program and you've worked under someone else's license and accrued the supervision hours, and then take the LCSW licensure exam. If you do have questions about licensure, you'll want to check out the boards of social work for the states that you're looking into, whether what the different requirements are. But from an educational standpoint, our program does meet the requirements for those licensures in all the states. So a little bit about the Kent School. The Kent School of Social Work and Family Science here at U of L is rated the best social work program in the state of Kentucky. We are centered in Kentucky's largest metropolitan city, Louisville, and we prepare social workers nationally and globally for careers in advanced social work practice through a lens of anti-oppression and anti-racism while promoting social justice. Our degree provides a generalist social work education that prepares students for ethical, evidence-informed, advanced social work practice with diverse, vulnerable, and marginalized individuals, families, groups, organizations, and communities. A little bit about the specifics of our program. With a Bachelor's of Social Work, you would qualify for our Advanced Standing program. And if the Bachelor's of Social Work is from a Council of Social Work Education accredited program, and that would be a 30 credit hour program. Or our regular MSSW program is 60 credit hours. We do accept all majors. If you have a bachelor's degree in any discipline, then the 60 credit hour program would be your program. A real strength of our program here at U of L is the customization and individualization of the degree. And that's what I'm going to talk about a little bit right now. The MSSW program can be done, the classroom portion can be done fully online, or you can do your courses in person here on campus. I believe we are the only social work program that has a fully on-campus option in Kentucky. Our online courses are mostly asynchronous, but there is a desire from our students that are interested in synchronous courses, so that may be an option in the future. You can do our program full-time or part-time. And you can start our program in summer, fall, or spring. Full-time status for graduate students is 9 credit hours a semester as opposed to the 12 of undergrad. So it depends on how many credit hours you want to take per semester, how long you might, how long you can anticipate being in the program. We typically say advanced standing is 1 to 2 years and regular standing is 2 to 3 years. It depends on whether or not you want to take summer classes and whether or not you want to take more than the 9 credit hours per semester. You can also if you apply as a full-time and want to move to part-time or vice versa, or if you want to change the modality, if you apply as an online student but decide you want to be an on-campus student, those are changes that can be made easily in that our major courses are offered every semester, including summer. So that's really helpful in that it adds to the flexibility of what our program can offer to meet the needs of our students. And then for customization and individualization, we do have partnerships with other master's programs where you can earn a dual degree, meaning earning two master's degrees simultaneously. The MS in Couples and Family Therapy is the other master's program we have here in the Kent School of Social Work and Family Science. It is different in that it is very individualized training for those that know that they want to be a therapist. And that program is done in person. It's actually on our Shelby campus, which is different than our main Belknap campus here. It is cohort modeled, and what that means is that you move through the program with the same students. So that's helpful for those that like that community feel. And then we also have partnerships with the MA in Pan-African Studies, the MA in Women, Gender, and Sexuality Studies, the Juris Doctorate, which is the professional school for law, Master of Divinity, which is done through the Louisville Seminary, and the MA in Healthcare Ethics. We also support the Latin American and Latino Studies certificate. So that's a graduate certificate that you can add on to the program. As I mentioned earlier, our degree is a generalist degree, but we do have 7 concentrations that students can choose between. If they know the population or the area of social work that they would like to work in, that gives you a chance for additional training and exposure to these areas. So the 7 concentrations are alcohol and drug counseling, gerontology, which is working with the elderly, mental health social work, military social work, cancer and health, school social work, and forensic social work. So those concentrations you can add on after you are admitted, and you can work with your advisor to add that to your degree program. You can do more than one concentration, but the way the curriculum is built out, it may mean that you have additional credit hours or additional classes you need to take if you do more than one concentration, but you're not limited to one. A signature part of social work education and training is practicum. Practicum is where social work knowledge, theories, values, and ethics are integrated into applied social work practice. We have a practicum education office here, and that staff supports students, both our online students and our on-campus students, in securing field placements. Practicum is on-site learning with regular supervision and professional development meetings, and each practicum is 2 semesters long. You can start the practicum either in fall and do fall spring, or you can start it in spring and do spring summer for a practicum. 60 credit hour students do 2 practicums, and 30 credit hour students do 1 practicum. And then there's an application process for practicum to ensure appropriate placement. So the practicum education office reaches out to accepted students to get that process started. So that is not something that you have to secure on your own. And so that is a great benefit that we have here. A little more about practicum. If you're wanting to kind of see how it looks in the context of your other studies, The first practicum is 450 hours, so that's 225 hours per semester. So that's 16 hours a week in fall and spring, and around 20 to 21 hours a week if you're doing the spring-summer practicum. And then your second practicum is your advanced practicum, and it is 500 hours. So your supervisor at your practicum site will be someone that has an MSW or MSSW degree with 2 years of postgraduate full-time work in the field of social work. And you'll be doing direct face-to-face practice with clients. So you'll be in there working on your clinical skills. All right, so some types of practicum settings. They can be anything from alcohol and drug programs to a hospital. You could work in the child welfare or foster care agencies, community-based agencies. So if you know an area you'd be interested in, you'll definitely work with your practicum staff to discuss your interests. But it's also okay if you don't know. You'll get experience in one of these areas. Another benefit that we have that helps support our graduate students and is kind of unique to the graduate student experience is that we have assigned professional academic advisors. So Connie Cox and Wynobe Williams are our advising coordinators, and they do the same alpha split by last name for students that Ellie and I do for applicants. So Connie Cox is for A through L, and Wynobe Williams is for M through Z. And they are led by Jennifer Foreman, the Associate Director of Student Success in the Kent School. So they will help keep you on track and making sure you're getting all of your requirements and progressing towards graduation, and that you know all of your options for course selection each semester and things like that. Our additional campus resources are available to our graduate students. So you have the same access as other students to our campus resources. So that includes the Counseling Center, Plan Professional Development, which is the arm of the graduate school at U of L that does professional development. They have programming. It could be about writing your resume, preparing for exams like the licensure exam, those types of things. Also getting oriented to U of L and Louisville if you are coming from elsewhere. They'll do programming for that as well. We have the Writing Center, the Disability Resource Center, the Career Center, the Center for Belonging, Access, and Engagement, and the Center for Military Connected Students. So all of these offices are there to help meet the needs that you have as a graduate student. And you may not know what those needs are just yet, but once you are studying here, we have lots of extra support so that you're successful in the classroom. All right, so to apply to graduate school, you'll complete an online application, which includes 2 short responses. This says short essays, but I think they're more responses to the graduate school prompts. And you'll create an account and create your application through the graduate school and complete the online application. And those 2 prompts will be within the application. You'll also submit all official transcripts for any school that you've attended. So any academic credit that you've earned will need to have transcripts from. You'll submit a writing sample. That writing sample prompt is available on our application checklist. And then you'll submit contact information for 2 people to provide letters of recommendation. And one of those will be a professional recommender, so someone that has supervised you in a professional setting, and one will be an academic recommendation. So someone that has social work faculty or instructor of one of your classes. If you haven't been enrolled in courses or earned credit in the last 2 years, then you can do 2 recommendations, professional recommendations. We'll also need a resume. And then there's a $65 non-refundable application fee that is collected by the graduate school. And there are some instances where that fee is waived. So I encourage you to look on the graduate school's website about those fee waivers. Our admissions process and application requirements are outlined on our application checklist. So some tips and tricks for the letter of recommendations. You'll want to reach out to more recommenders than needed. So when you're completing your application, you can enter in the contact information for more than 2 recommenders. That just gives you the opportunity to solicit recommendations. A lot of times recommenders have great intentions to provide letters of recommendation. Sometimes they just get busy. So it's always nice to have more recommenders listed just as a, so that you have some backups as well. And then I covered the applicants who have not been enrolled in classes in the last 2 years may substitute an academic reference for a professional one. And then no personal recommendations are accepted. So coworkers, mentors, friends, people like that, we can't accept those letters of recommendation. Our GPA requirement is a 3.0, but we do allow for students to submit an application addendum if they want to be considered and they have under a 3.0. So the addendum provides an addendum gives you an opportunity to discuss any gaps or deficiencies on your academic record so that the admissions committee can take those points into consideration. Sometimes people start in a major that wasn't meant for them, or if you're returning to graduate study after your undergrad and there's been some time that has passed. Sometimes first year 18-year-old students just don't have the grades that they will need to get that 3.0. So those are all things that you could include in an application addendum if you don't have the 3.0. Transfer credit, applicants may be able to transfer graduate credit from other MSSW programs or other graduate degree programs. You'll want to email our general account and request a transfer credit evaluation. And we'll send you a link and you can read about the transfer policy and how to submit a request for that. All right, deadlines. We've passed the summer deadline for this year, but for summer starts, May starts, the application deadline is March 21st. For fall, an August start, the application deadline is July 1st. And for a spring start, January. The application deadline is November 1st. If you do want to apply for the fall and any semester, we definitely recommend applying earlier the better. That gives you a chance to secure your practicum placement, to explore your funding opportunities and things like that. So even if you are planning on applying for fall, we recommend doing that quickly. So I mentioned this a little bit earlier about when you are accepted, the Practicum Education Office will reach out to you via your U of L email address about the application process for practicum. So you'll want to make sure that you're checking your email regularly, and you can also reach out to them if you have any questions or concerns. They do have placement deadlines, and so they're a little bit earlier for the non-local students, so our online students, to ensure that they can secure that practicum placement for you. So for students that are wanting to start their practicum in this coming fall, the deadline to apply for practicum is May 15th for non-local students, and then June 30th for local students. And then you see the spring and summer placement deadlines there too. The Practicum Education Office can work with you if you do apply after these deadlines, but they just cannot guarantee a placement for the semester you're requesting if you apply after the deadline. So the cost of attending the Kent School, full-time tuition, so that's the 9 credit hours or more for a resident, is $7,652 for the semester. And then a non-resident, you see, is $15,554. And you can take up to 15 credit hours and be considered full-time. If you do part-time, then it is a per credit hour tuition. So it would be $850 per credit hour for residents and $1729 for non-residents. And then if you do fully online, that is also the per credit hour rate of $850 per credit hour. And you can see all of that information on the Bursar's website. The Kent School does offer scholarships every fall and spring semester. When you are an accepted student, you're able to apply for those scholarships. So you'll see that the portal for scholarships for the fall is open May 1st through July 1st. And then for the spring is September 1st to November 1st. To be considered for a Kent School scholarship, you'll have to have a FAFSA on file, and we recommend that anyway, so that students know their options in funding their graduate education. And the Kent School tries to offer as many scholarships as possible to as many students as possible. And so the scholarships won't cover your tuition, but will hopefully be of some help towards it. We also encourage students to look into graduate assistantships. So graduate assistantships are campus employment that will often either give you a stipend, cover partial or full tuition, or some combination of the two. Usually they're 20-hour-a-week jobs. I thought it was 30 for some reason, but today we heard in the graduate, we went to a graduate symposium today and someone said 20 hours a week. So places like the Housing and Residence Life Office will have graduate assistantships. The PEACE program, which is our our interpersonal violence prevention program. the graduate school, the online education office. The graduate assistantships are just based on availability from those units. And so there's not a clear deadline for applying to those, but you'll have access to that after you are an accepted student to review those and apply for those. We also have the Traeger Institute. They have a behavioral health internship program. It's called Flourish, and it is a one-year social work placement that provides a stipend for up to $10,000. So that can be helpful for those interested in that. So I recommend looking into that if you have interest in working with the elderly, rural, primary care, medical social work, those types of things. So ways that you can prepare for graduate school now. You can, if you are still in courses, you can establish and maintain good relationships with your professors. You can be aware of your cumulative GPA and work to keep it above a 3.0. If you do have the 3.0, think about what you can do to maintain a strong GPA in the more rigorous graduate level coursework. Talk with people that you know that have completed a graduate program. And think about the types of social work and practicum placements that interest you. And then you can also set up a one-on-one with myself or Ellie. We are happy to meet with you by phone, online, or we do meet with students here on campus as well. We do have a presence on social media, so if that is of interest to you, these are our links to those. And just know that we are here to help. So our general email, the quickest way to get a hold of us, msswkent@louisville.edu, and I'll respond if you're in my office split or Ellie and the M through Z applicants. And then we have links to our application checklist online. And then if you do have any specific questions about practicum, we always direct students straight to the source so that you can get the most accurate information. And their email address is fieldedu@louisville.edu. And then we've got a QR code there for a survey, if you don't mind taking a few minutes to give us some feedback as well. All right, so I'll leave it on this email, or I'm sorry, on this, the contact information page, but I'm happy to answer any questions if anybody has any.
Maybe this is a stupid question, but I thought this was a bachelor's program. Am I getting my bachelor's or am I getting a master's? I'm confused.
This is for the master's program.
Okay. How long would I be in school for that? Because I feel like I need to schedule a one-on-one appointment with you because I'm so confused after. I thought this orientation would clear things up for me, but I feel like it made me more confused.
Well, definitely send me an email, just at msswkent@louisville.edu, and I'm happy to meet with you as soon as tomorrow.
Okay, awesome. I'm off work tomorrow. Thank you.
Sure. All right, we've got a question that says, would a letter of recommendation from my BSW practicum supervisor be considered professional or academic? Professional. And then Crystal's waiting on a follow-up from Ellie. We'll let her know that you were here tonight.
I had a couple questions. I was wondering, so I'm coming from a career in education as a high school teacher, and I haven't been in a classroom for a very long time. But so, and I saw that coworkers were on the list of like personal recommendations. If I have like a department head that I worked under, that would count as a professional reference. They've always just known me better than like a principal, you know, like a lot more day-to-day communication. And then I'm looking at the sorry, I don't mean to hog the airtime.
No, not at all. You're fine.
I'm looking at the dual degree program with the couples and family therapy program, and I was just wondering how limited are the practicum placements for students that are doing both? I know it's probably like narrowed down. I just wondered like if you still get some flexibility in choosing, or is it kind of like, you know, only one or two places that you can go if you're trying to do both programs?
I actually can't speak to how limited it is, but I do know that you can complete practicums that count towards both. I think you just have to have the correct supervision.
Okay.
So if you had a place in mind, the Practicum Education Office works with both the CFT and the MSSW students. So you would just have one staff that would work with you.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Sure. All right. Let's see here. Explain more about how someone may work and do the practicum at the same time for a part-time student. It will really depend on your individual circumstance. That's something that you can discuss with the practicum education office and your employer. We do have students that do work and do practicum at the same time. It just depends on what the availability is on kind of both sides of the coin for your own employment, and then also what practicums are available. Are there any remote assistantships available typically? For assistantships, which is different than practicum, those just really vary by what units have to offer. It's hard to know how many would be remote. I would say most are on campus for assistantships, but I'd encourage you to look.
Daphne, I've added the website in the chat to graduate assistantships too.
Perfect, thank you. All right, I'm currently at U of L for my BSW. Would I be able to get the border benefit in the master's program? That's a good question.
I would check with the bursar's office.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy to stay on to answer a few more questions, but for those that don't have any, I just want to thank you for joining us tonight, and I look forward to working with you if you decide to apply, and then feel free to reach out with any questions, and have a great night. But feel free to stay on if you do have additional questions.
Hi, Ms. Arnold. My name's Yvonne, and I believe we've spoken one other time, but I did have another question about the letters of recommendation. So I submitted my application, and right now I'm just waiting on those letters to be submitted, considering that the practicum deadline is, the suspense for that is before the application itself in July. I'm considering Should I ask the people that are sending the letters of recommendation to submit it by a certain date so that I don't delay my practicum?
Yeah, I'd encourage you just to touch base with them and just give them a gentle reminder. The way that it works is when you put in their contact information, the graduate school sends the link to them to submit an online recommendation form, and it does give them an option to upload a letter of recommendation that they've written. It's not required to do that. They can actually just fill out the form. If that email has gotten lost, I would be able to look on your application as well. So if you send me an email and remind me, then I could look and see when the date that it was sent. Sometimes that's helpful to say, like, for them to like look in their email if it was sent. I can tell you what date the form was sent. They can do it that way. You can also fill out an update application form in your portal and add, you can input additional recommender information in there if you want the link to go out to anyone else. Or we even have like a manual form that I can send you if someone wants to fill that out and submit it to the graduate school, they can attach it to your application. So there's a couple of ways that we can go about it if you're, if that's a piece of your application that you're waiting on.
Yes, ma'am.
They'll
Thank you.
review.
That's helpful.
Yeah. Well, they'll review all of the letters of recommendation on file, but just the 2 are required. So it's okay if you feel like one recommender could speak to specific things, but you just need to get the 2 in to mark the boxes, to have your application be considered complete. We can still accept beyond those 2. If that makes sense.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, thank you.
Sure. All right.
Okay, so I came on a little bit late. I know you probably already mentioned it, but I was interested. I don't remember what the name of the program is called. I have a master's in education, but I was looking to venture into social work. There was one. I'm trying to remember if it's called the traditional or not. Where if you have a bachelor's, then you could get it done in 16 months.
It's 60 credit hours.
And it's 60 credit hours. I think there's one thing that I didn't see, and I wanted some information on that. I never saw a price. I was a little bit also confused with the hours for the internship.
Yeah, so the price, the tuition is
Like the
based on,
total tuition, yeah.
yeah, the tuition is based on whether or not you are a resident of Kentucky or a non-resident.
I'm not.
And then if you're doing online, then if you're doing
Yes.
it online, then it's $8.50 per credit hour. So it would be billed based on how many credit hours you took each semester. You would get the bill for $8.50 per hour. And then the practicum hours that you would be doing your practicum at, the practicum hours satisfy a requirement for practicum, and there's a class that's with practicum, but those are kind of separate, if that makes sense. So the practicum
I
is,
know that there was like a class, and then like an online. No, sorry, not online. There was like a class, and then of course you have to do like your field experience.
right.
And so and I think that's what was confusing for me. Like, what is the total field experience hours to finish complete?
It's $450 for your first practicum and $500 for your second.
500 for the second. Okay, so $950 in total. Okay.
Yeah.
my other thing, I don't remember if I saw this. I probably did. But when is your next and period? Like when does the next period start?
So the applications for fall are due by July 1st.
For fall. So the next period would be for fall.
Yeah.
And they're due in
Yeah,
July.
the summer term deadline has passed.
Oh yeah, that sucks. Okay. I think I had seen that it was for March 4th or something like that.
Yeah, March 20th. Yeah.
20th. Okay. Um, I think that was one of my most important question. Like, is it really that late that I can't get in for summer?
The problem is with the university's ability to activate a student. So even if we can be flexible in accepting application materials, we run into the problem of the university being able to activate the student in time for course registration and for the start of courses. Because I think we're just less than 3 weeks out from the start of summer. It starts early May.
Yeah. Okay. I think that was my most important question, and the credit hours that was confusing for me. I have your information. If I have any more question, I'll just reach out.
Perfect. Well,
And
thanks.
it is all 100% online except for your credit hours, right?
Except for the practicum, yeah.
The
The
practicum.
coursework,
So I'm not
the
required
coursework
to
could be due.
travel. Sorry.
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I know some like hybrid options will require people to come in for like one Saturday a month or something, or, programs are set up all differently. But for our online program, you can complete it, the classroom portion, fully online.
Good. Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it was nice to meet you.
Thanks, you too. Thank
All
you.
right. Take
Bye.
care. Bye.
You too.